I've been selling a lot of stuff on eBay for super cheap, but I'm still making some money. And I'm going to explain to you exactly why and how that this is working and how I'm using that cash to then pour into new inventory. Hi, everybody. My name is Craig, and I am revitalizing a 20-year-old eBay store that had tons of dead inventory in it. So what we're doing is we're working on liquidating old stuff and then adding new good stuff into it on a daily basis. We're currently listing 2 new clothing items into it every single day and trying to sell at least 2 items a day. And you're going to see for Monday, we didn't sell just 2 items. We sold 1 clothing item and we sold 7 sports cards. We actually had 8 sales in the last 24 hours. I am more than ecstatic. Now, all these sports cards that you see here, they all sold for $1 and change, and yet I'm making money on them. And why? Because I'm charging shipping. This idea that if you charge shipping for items that people aren't going to want to buy it, I don't know where it came from, but you need to definitely consider it. If you have really low margins, you're selling really low price stuff, you need to make sure you have it. So I'm able to discount these super low. Most of these are selling between $1 and $1.50 plus the $1.32 shipping, and most of them cost a little less than that to ship. So that covers kind of my shipping costs and most of my eBay fees with these small sales. So I'm getting about $1 out of each of these. Now that doesn't sound like much, but I'm also in all these cards for $1 or less for the most part. And so again, there's nothing super special about them. There's some little autographs, serial number cards, parallels, inserts, kind of a little bit of everything, but nothing super crazy great in here. But I'm still able to liquidate, get that money back. And so even though it's only 8 cards that sold for just over $1, it's actually $8 profit or $7 profit from these cards. We also sold these Adidas Trefoil. These are not vintage. They're like a kind of a modern reprint, but there were good comps on it. And this is actually an international sale. I don't have to deal with international shipping because we ship through eBay's global shipping program, and it's perfect because I don't have the time to learn how to do that right now. And so right now I'm going to take advantage of the service that eBay offers. We took, I think it was something like $27. It took about 2 weeks to sell. You can go back to one of my previous haul videos and you'll see that on there. And I'm super excited that it sold. So again, 7 sports cards plus 1 clothing item, which is really good. We would love to see 2 clothing items a day, but until we get more in the store, that's not going to happen. But 8 sales when we're only trying to sell 2 things a day is absolutely great. All right, we did do a little thrifting haul. Now, if you watched the live ride along that we did last night, you saw some of these items already, but we're going to just rehash that for those who didn't. This is FootJoy. Now, I don't always buy a ton of FootJoy stuff, but this is kind of a unique print. First of all, the size is good, 2XL, so anytime you can get larger sizes, that's good. And this is like a 2021 England print. I actually found 2 comps for this shirt, and you can see they even have the English flag up here too. I found 2 comps for this shirt, and there were both of them sold, and there were none available. So I think we're not going to have any issue. I don't know what that sell-through rate is if there's none listed and 2 sold, but pretty good. All right, then we also got this Dunning golf shirt, but that's not why we got it. We got it because it's Trump National Doral. Politics aside, anything with Trump's name on it tends to sell really well when it comes to polo shirts, at least everything that I found so far. And so I found other Trump National Doral polo shirts like this, and the sell-through rate on Trump National Doral shirts is super, super fast. So that's good. So you don't have to agree or disagree with the politics of every last item that you sell. You don't have to spend all the time researching it, but I'm going to tell you that's something that is selling well right here, right now. Now, this one was a little bit of a reach and a little bit of a stretch for me, but I'm going to tell you how I comped it. So this is the famous Pink Pony, which I believe is like a hotel or something on Mackinac Island. Mackinac Island is in Michigan. And so you can see this, the Pink Pony Chippewa Hotel. Now, I've actually heard about this because I've talked to people who have been to Mackinac Island, and they mentioned this place. And so then I couldn't find this exact shirt. This is, by the way, this is kind of a modern tag. Sometimes it can be older stuff, I think, but this is more of a modern tag, this Comfort Colors. But they do a lot of vintage printing and stuff like that, and printing for companies. But I looked up other Pink Pony Mackinac Island shirts, and the sell-through on Pink Pony Mackinac Island shirts is great. So I decided, since I couldn't find this exact shirt, I used that as my comp. Now, the size is just small, which is not ideal, but I feel confident that we're not going to have any issues, especially since it's long sleeve going into the fall. Maybe people who either live there or visit there or going to visit there are going to like that. All right, and then the next shirt we have here is this Ashworth shirt. Now, Ashworth is not a brand that I normally grab, but this one was new with tags. It's 2XL, and it's actually a cashmere blend. So you can see originally it was $130 in the store. I don't think we're going to get anything close to that, but I do think that sometimes you can just because you don't normally get a brand doesn't mean that there can't be outliers from the brand. And so normally I don't pick up Ashworth shirts, but in this case, it was new with tags. It was a great size. It's cashmere blend. It's going into the fall. So it's like the right season for all of it. So all those things combined worked out really well in our favor. All right, this is a new brand of polo for me. And how did I discover it? Well, the same way that I tend to discover. There's two ways that I discover new different items and shirts. One is you just do research and you study solds and other videos on eBay. That's one way to help. But the other way to do is you feel something, you just see something different. And this one feels high quality. You start to learn what a high quality shirt feels like. And then if it feels high quality and it's a brand you haven't looked up, then look it up. And so the comps on this look pretty good. One other tip that I've heard, I don't know if it's always true, but they generally say if there's an animal in the logo, they tend to sell better. So we did that. All right. Then we grabbed this Jim Nantz Vineyard Vines. Okay, so this is Jim Nantz by Vineyard Vines. It's Jim Nantz, the golf announcer. I found some of them. Not all of the Jim Nantz shirts sell great. They do tend to sell, but this pattern was so much better than most of the solds. And so if you're having trouble finding the exact item, one of the things I learned from Tech and Sports and Daily Refinement is just sort it go through the sort from high to low and then figure out the coolness factor. And so that most of the shirts by Jim Nantz that had sold, even the higher ones, were stripes or polka dots or whatever. There weren't a lot of all over prints. And so this fits in that category. So we're going to list it towards the higher end of the range. All right, then we found this vintage Jimi Hendrix shirt. Everything I could tell, it is vintage now. This is the tag, Zion Rootswear. Definitely has the look. I do think some of the people have theirs a little overpriced. We're going to probably try to move, kind of be the lower end of the market is size large, but we're going to try to be the lower end of the market. But we got this one super cheap, like $5. And so I have no doubts that it's going to sell. I don't know how much of our profit margin is going to be there. Then we also found this Grateful Dead shirt. You maybe remember we did a Grateful Dead, what was it? I don't know, like a pullover thing a couple weeks ago. That hasn't sold yet, but this is Teton Gravity Research by Grateful Dead. So it's another collab shirt. And again, I couldn't find this exact print, which is actually encouraging in this. And you can see kind of the collab. But it's an official collab. But I saw plenty of solds of Grateful Dead and Teton, Teton Gravity Research. And so between those two, and I didn't see any of the skiing, the deadhead skiing or anything like that. And so I'm really encouraged that, again, going into skiing season and everything else, that this should be pretty good. This is a brand that I don't find too often, and when I do, I usually pass on it. But this was cheap enough. This is Nat Nast, and there are some really nice ones, but I just don't find the good ones that often. And you can see here, why did I grab this one? Well, first of all, it's 100% silk. It is very plain, and it's very boring, but I looked it over. There were no stains. I find a lot of Nat Nast shirts I tend to find have grease stains on them, and this looked pretty clean all the way around, and it was only $5. And so again, it's one of those, I think it's a little bit low risk or whatever on what it is, because it's a quality brand, probably listed in the $20 to $30 range, depending on what the other comps are. And it is nice. Everything is good. Like, I looked it over multiple times. All the stitching, there isn't a lot of stitching, but the stitching that is there looks all really good and really nice. And then we did one last thing. I keep trying to force myself to learn different things. And I've been learning that camo bottoms, camo shorts, camo pants sell really well. And I don't do much with this brand you probably heard of, Abercrombie & Fitch. The sizing's a little small. It's a 32 by 30, but it is that older style, the kind of that 90s Y2K style. It's cargo, cargo pants and everything. And camo, cargo, Y2K 90 stuff is in trend right now. Everything on here looks really good. I don't know if I'm going to spend enough time to date exactly that it is technically vintage. If you know, you can let me know, but I'm not super worried about it because it's just mainly for the style. Some of the best Abercrombie cargo pants that are camo sell for like $100. It absolutely blew me away. So we're not going to be looking for that high, but if we can get a sale here in the $40 to $50 range, I'm going to be pretty happy with that. So that's what's going to be heading into the store over the next couple of weeks. Now, remember, I'm using a draft bank, so some of these won't actually get into the store for about 2 weeks because right now the draft bank is 2 items a day. And so 14 days or 28. So a lot of these items will be hitting the store in about 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm kind of thinking ahead. I don't want to be buying something, that is super seasonal today because I know it's going to be like 2 weeks before it gets in. So I'm kind of already starting to think ahead, look ahead of items that are, of course, the best of the best you're going to sell year round, but definitely having an eye towards either really good values on short sleeve shirts and shorts and swimwear, stuff that is fine if I have to sit on it for a little while, or stuff that's going to be heading right into peak season as we're thinking fall and winter here over the months ahead. But this is what we're trying to do, just keep taking things. And so almost everything that is in this pile, almost everything could be purchased with what I profited from here. Probably had to add in about $10 or $15 more, but that's really cool. So now I'm taking all of this, all these cards, which have been sitting around for months or for some of them years, they're all gone. These shorts, which I just bought, so take all that money, the profit and the initial money invested into it, take it out, and then put it right back into new stuff, better stuff that's going to make the store go in the direction that I want it to go. And so you got to take control of the store, make sure you're looking at your comps, that you're not adding stuff just on guesswork, especially if you're trying to revitalize the store. You need to know that what you're going to get is going to sell or has a really good chance of selling, and the faster the better. You know, it doesn't mean you can't hold out for some top pricing on some home runs, but for the most part, I need to be turning stuff over fast, because the only capital I have to spend is the capital that I free up from the money that I have inventory invested in. That's why I'm willing to sell cards for $1 that I bought for $1 to at least get that money back out, put into something new, and then also find good items that we're making profits on and selling in less than 2 weeks of list time. So that's what we got. So let me know, how is your store revitalization going? Let me know down in the comments below.